Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bluebaggers Edge, and we are here to discuss in recent times news about the Western Bulldogs utility Buku Khamis having requested a trade to the Navy Blue, seeking more opportunities. Now, I honestly don't mind this news in light of obviously losing Jack Silvani and maybe perhaps McGovern as well, but just on Khamis, stands at 191 centimetres, is 25 years of age, and actually has proven that he can be quite handy at both ends of the ground in his 41 games, where he's kicked also 20 goals at senior level. So for a little bit of context, he was part of the Bulldogs Next Generation Academy and eventually drafted as a Category B rookie in 2019. And they have poured a fair bit of development into him, where he finally debuted in 2021. Quite raw. And, in terms of prospects, came to footy a little bit later in his sort of, profile, and hence the reason why the Dogs poured so much time and effort into developing him and him making his debut 2 years after being drafted. But from then on, he largely found it quite difficult to break into the Dogs lineup, flushed with, of course, key position talent, as we know, playing just 10 games from 2021 to 2023. He was on the cusp of asking for a trade due to limited opportunities with just one game in 2023, but did agree to a one-year deal offered by the Dogs after showing strong form in the VFL in that season as a forward, where he kicked 41 goals. Now, following 2024, where he played 17 games, playing mainly as a defender, he then penned a two-year deal to keep him at the club until the end of 2026. And that takes us to where we are now. In 2025, he managed 14 games total, and in his sixth game, he was swung forward and slotted 13 goals from his remaining 9 games at senior level, which featured 3 bags of 2 goals and 1 3-goal haul. But Khamis was ultimately, as we like to call, bevoed. As we know, Bevo throwing some random moves and throwing the magnets across the board, as he does with a lot of his players. He was bevoed and subbed out, or the starting sub, in those remaining 3 games. He then played the remaining 6 games in the VFL to round out the season, where he kicked an impressive 17 goals with 2 bags of 2, along with hauls of 3, 4, and 5. Now, as I mentioned from the top, the fact we are losing Sauce, who has proven a valuable swingman himself, and most likely will be losing Gov, along with the fact that we have, obviously, Kemp returning from an ACL, along with Harry O'Farrell out with an ACL himself. Khamis does provide us with much needed depth in our key position stocks, first and foremost. But I also think he could genuinely carve out a spot in our best 22, especially in defence, to fill one of those 2 holes left by Sauce and Gov. And he has all the right traits, being super athletic, a great leaping mark, and user of the footy. So let's jump across now to Willow ratings and just dive into some stats side of things now, just to sort of lift the curtain on the player that we have on our hands here. So during his draft year, Khamis, he was ranked equal 7th for standing vertical jump, so has the sort of leap that is a serious weapon as a defender in spoiling and marking, but also super hard to defend against as a high leaping forward. And the big plus with Khamis is he seriously knows how to use the footy. Even in his draft year, he was rated the lowest clanger kick percentage out of every single draft combine invitee at just 2.7%, with an exceptional kicking efficiency at 81.4%. Now, this is also translated into senior level also, with 84% and 87% across his past 2 seasons when he strung 31 games together. And as we know, high quality ball use is what we desperately have been crying out for in the Navy Blue. Now, you can see that there in terms of the breakdown of his disposal efficiency. Very, very good across his past 2 seasons. And his career form across his 41 games stands at 81.2%. Now, on a tackling front also, he has had an above average rating of 1.9 a game in 2025 as well to boot. So while some may snub their noses because he isn't, that big name player, much like Tressa, Reedy, Khamis is a smart Moneyball approach of cherry picking a bloke with talent who has just managed to work his way into a side on a consistent basis that already boasts insane key position talent, featuring the likes of Sam Darcy and, of course, Aaron Norton. And he'll come at a very, very low cost yet again in terms of, trade capital with a diamond in the rough, the big hallmark surrounding all of this. And whilst we'd all love to nab the big names, of course, the reality is they cost insane draft capital that we just can't afford to give up. Given that we need, of course, to match bids for Harry Dean, who's going to likely be a top 10 draft pick in this draft, along with hoarding draft capital to match bids for next year with Cody Walker. So we really need to be savvy with players that we do target outside of free agency. And this, I think, is one of those moves, much like the other ones that we just spoke about. For me, personally, I'm definitely in approval of him coming to the club. Again, helps out with the key position stock depth. And I think you can actually, carve out a spot in our senior team. We've been crying out for someone of his athleticism, his speed, rebound if he does play in defense, which I think he probably will when he comes to the club. But again, that swingman appeal as well. If we need someone to go forward to really help us out, it just creates that flexibility in terms of key position stocks. You're not pigeonholing yourselves into just having a pure defender or a pure forward. If need be, depending on injuries, that's the sort of depth that we need to really contend and have that sustainability across the course of a season. We've been wiped out by injuries over the past few seasons, and we've really been lacking in terms of depth and that versatile depth at that, which I think Khamis can really help us out with. So as I said, I'm a massive fan of this. What about you? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And until next time, we'll catch you in the next one. Go Baggers.
Have you ever heard the MCG